Hi YouTube, this is Felicia with Bible Scraps and your Fun Stampers Journey coach, and boy do I have a tutorial for you guys. Take a look at these lovely yet masculine cards. Aren't they gorgeous? Really simple. Now, my technique, you guys, I'm going to show you how you can stamp with absolutely no ink. Did you know you can even do that? So these were quick to make. I used a product that's new to me. They're called PanPastels. I did not learn of this particular product until Fun Stampers Journey. Well, we offer 4 collections that coordinate with our exclusive color line. And I used the color, what is this called? Party Pop collection. Now I'm going to not only share how to make these cards, I'm going to tell you everything that I used. But first, I would love to have you as a customer. So let me cover some housekeeping things. You could find my store at www.funstampersjourney.com/Bible Scraps. You could also visit the main store, and in the Coach Finders tab, type in my name, Felicia Hands with a Z. Then you must click on my profile picture, which is a picture of my original Fun Stampers Journey shopping lot. Once you click on my profile picture, that should take you directly to my store. You could also click on the links in my description box, and that should take you to my storefront. Now, if you should have any concerns, any questions, please send me an email. And if you do order from my store, if you could also send an email just to let me know you ordered. My email address is biblescraps@yahoo.com. Okay, so, and I didn't show the inside, right? Let me show you the inside of the card. It's simple, right? But can you see my little background stamping I've done there? I've stamped with absolutely no ink. I have seen some videos because, once again, PanPastels were new to me, and so I watched a lot of videos. I have seen crafters use the Versamark ink and the colorless embossing ink to stamp with, but I've never seen this technique I'm going to share with you. Now, let me just say, there's PanPastel artists out there, and I have seen some artists color people with PanPastels. I mean, from scratch. Okay, so this is an awesome product to use and get to know. So I used the Party Pop collection. Once again, we have the individual silver color that you can pick up, and then I used Summer Rose. Now, I love this stamp set. It's a misconception that you need clear stamps to multi-layer stamp. I'm going to share a super cool technique on how you can get, I want to say perfect, but there's nothing perfect. But if you practice, you can have precise multi-level stamping. And then I used our Be Amazing collection now, or stamp set. This stamp set has since retired as of July the 30th. I tried to get you guys to get it. These sentiments are trendy. They're perfect for all year round, but it's no longer available. So use any sentiment you have in your stash. And then I'm using our silks in the color silver. I love our silks. They're one of my 3Ps, my personal product picks, and I did do a review on our entire line of silks. And then I'm using Beach Ball ink pad. Everything else you will see during the tutorial. Okay, so let's get started. But first, I want to share a tip. This is a package that came from Create and Craft for their to-do hot plates. I normally throw my packaging away. I always say I'm going to keep it and recycle it, but it takes up a lot of space. And then the idea occurred, save them for your card kits. And that's my tip. You can put in your card kits in a package like this. It's cool because it has the opening and you can hang it And when you're ready to create that card, you have everything already together. I'm going to use these when I teach my classes. Absolutely love it. Okay, now, tip number 2. Because we are working with PanPastels, you might hear me call them fun pastels. I don't know why. Sometimes I do that. But I recommend you put on a pair of gloves, or you could use finger gloves. I will link these in my description box. Just make sure you get the right size so they're not so tight. Though PanPastels do wash off, they can stain your fingernail, and it might take several washes to get the pastel off. Just protect yourself beforehand. Okay, so we are going to get started first making our background paper here. I love it. The idea of using the build a layer, and this is what this stamp set is. You build layers upon layers to create a beautiful dimensional image. Well, I love the idea of using these middle stamps to create background papers, and that's what we are going to do right now. And my super cool technique, you guys, this is so easy. I absolutely love it. We're going to stamp with our pastels. Okay, so I've already added my stamp to my stamping block. Ooh, little bug. It's summertime. You might see bugs flying through. Don't worry. They don't mess with me. I don't mess my pastels. This is, once again, the Party Pop collection. And I've added silver. For now, I'm just going to use, what color did I use? Okay, I used this blue color. I'm going to put the rest of them to the side and get my finger cleaned off. Now watch how easy it is to create a beautiful background. You take your sponge, and this sponge came with the collection. Pick up some pastel and just rub the pastel on your stamp. Now, I've seen videos where Versamark ink or clear ink is used, but I've never seen this technique. The only thing you need is water. So I'm going to spritz, I'm going to spritz my stamp. I don't want to oversaturate it. Oh, I want to do this on camera, but I don't want to wet my surface. Well, okay. I'll show you. This is a light mist spray container. And you just spray. You don't want to spray too much. And watch what happens. Oh, that's pretty already. Now, I can add more pastel, but I'm going to add 1 spritz of water. And I'm going to move. That was twice, but I have my fan on, so the first spread, it got on me. Now, I'm just going to at random stamp. Now, that one had more water than I wanted, so I'm going to be careful, because if you add too much water, you will warp your paper. Now I'm going to add more pastel. I'm going to go directly to my stamp. And yes, my stamp is still wet, but that's a-okay. I'm not going to spritz it again. I'm just going to stamp. And let's stamp again and see what happens. You can actually mist several times before you need to add more pastel or add more water. Okay, so let's add more pastel. And if I wanted to get really fancy, I could go in with another color. I'm going to do that too. But for now, I just want to show you this technique. I think this is so super cool. I love it. And you just turn your stamping block, turn it different angles when you stamp. Isn't that pretty? Oh, wow. I love this. Okay, a light mist. Don't want to overdo it. And we are done. We are done. Now, if I wanted to add a darker color, I can, without adding more pastel, just add more water. For some reason, when you add more water, you get darker impressions. Okay, so I am fine with how that looks. Isn't that super cool? Now you see why I wear these finger gloves? Because if I didn't have the finger gloves on, all that pastel would be on my fingers. Okay, this is absolutely pretty, you guys. I love it. Let's make another one, and this time we are going to add silver pastel. Now you can see the one I just created is darker than my original one. Hey, it's okay. You want to get different looks. So we are going to do the same thing again, except this time I'm going to add in a little bit of silver. You could choose any color you like. And, you know, let me add more pastel. If you're new to PanPastels, I am too. I didn't know about pastels until I learned about it from Fun Stamper's Journey. I think it's going to be a technique that I absolutely love. Without adding more pastel, I'm going to give it a light mist because I like that faded look. Just look at that. Love it. Oh, I forgot to add my silver. Let me do that now. I'm using one of these applicators. I got this from Amazon. And I'm just going to randomly add the pastel to it. Now, what I did earlier, I actually stamped right into the pastel. I will show different techniques in upcoming videos. Okay, I want that to be a little darker, so I need to add more water. Remember, I have my fan blowing, and so sometimes the mist don't go where I want it to go. Now you could see the silver that's coming through. I think I'm going to spritz it one more time. Oh, that got on my arm. Not even sure if I got it that time. Yep, I did. Yeah, I see the effects of that silver. I like that. So let me add more blue. Oh my goodness, you can go crazy in your craft room coming up with not only different techniques, different looks. I tell you, this is easy peasy stamping here. Whoops. Ooh, I like it. I like it. Ooh, I love it. Okay, so to compare the two, the one on the left, I did not add silver. Ooh, I see that silver, you guys. Do you see it down here? It's gorgeous. You get the metallic look. And notice that my paper did not warp. If you do not oversaturate your stamps, you can treat our cardstock like water paper. So super cool. Okay, I love that. Okay, so now we need to create our flower. It's a misconception that you need clear stamps in order to stamp with build a layer type of stamps, and Summer Rose is a build a layer. You stamp layers upon layers to create a beautiful image. I'm going to show you how easy it is to make a beautiful dimensional type rose. Okay, I'm going to start off with the illustration on our beautiful laminated card. This card holds the stamps. It can be confusing when you're using clear stamps or red rubber stamps, when you are trying to figure out which stamps layer upon which stamps, looking at this, I assumed that these three flowers went together, but no. These three, or these four actually go together, and these three down here go together. The three leaves, obviously, they go together. Now, it took me a minute to figure out how to layer these stamps and where you're supposed to layer the stamps, but let me show you what I did to figure this out. It starts with our clear block, or whatever type of block that you're using. You want to make sure that you have the right orientation of your block. Because I'm using our blocks, I love them. One of my personal product picks. I did a whole review on our entire block collection. I'll link that in my description box. But our blocks have a grid on it, and the grid is on the top of the block, and you can actually feel the grid lines. We also have a letter on each of our block, and that dictates the size of the block. And the letter can be found in the lower right hand corner. We also have our signature flower, which is our Journey Bloom, in the top right corner. In order to get the best stamping image you can get, it's imperative that you know the angle of the bloom and the letter. Okay, make sure your letter is in the lower right hand corner. And the next thing I do, I'm going to use the illustration on our packaging. Take the stamp I'm using and line it up with the illustration. I want to make sure I have moisture to my stamp to ensure it's going to stick to my block, so I just used a baby wipe. Now take the stamping block, center it over the stamp, pick it up. Simple as that. You want to do that for every stamp that you're using. I've done it for this one already, and I've done it for the bud already. Okay, so let me show you why that will help you when it comes to building your layers. Okay, I'm going to start off. I'm going to use PanPastels again, and we're going to make this exact flower, or at least try to. I'm going to use the silver pastel and just rub it in like this. Goes on super duper easy. Following the same process, I'm going to mist it. I don't think I added enough there. And you know, let me show you how much water I have. That might be too much. I don't know. We'll find out. And when you stamp, just stamp straight down. Don't turn it. Just go straight down. That's important, you guys. And you probably can't see that. Not sure if you can. Let me do it again. Going to add more pastel. And yes, my stamp is wet, but it works, you guys. My pastels are not affected. Let me pick up a little bit more. You know, pastels are really resilient. They don't cross-contaminate easy. Okay, I am going to mist again and stamp straight down. My stamping block is in the correct orientation. That's important. Let that one sit for a second because I think I may have missed some image up there. Okay, and let's do it one more time. I love this silver pastel on our, what is that called? Riverstone cardstock. Now, I didn't add as much water to this one, but let's see how it looks. You always want to stamp multiple times because you're going to get some images that don't come out quite right. So stamp as many as you like. And you know what? Why not? Let's just do it again. I mean, I have more cardstock available. And remember, I can add different colors of pastel. I'm making sure I have my correct orientation for my stamp, and just press it down. Okay, now that's good enough. Okay, do you see? I can see my image there. And by the way, this stamp is considered your solid or bold stamp. Okay, we're going to move to the detailed stamp. For this particular stamp, I'm going to use our ink pad. It's Beach Ball. And you know what? I'm not going to even clean it. I'm going to go right into the stamp pad. Now watch how easy this next layer is. I'm not totally within view of the camera, but I'm going to show you when you follow my example of making sure you have the correct orientation. You simply, I'm going to stamp and just stamp down. I'm not going to tilt or turn the stamping block. But when you have the correct orientation of your stamping block, it's just as simple as pressing down, and look at that. Now mine is off just a little bit in the corner, but that's only because I don't have my cardstock in front of me. But it's so super easy. Let me see if I could see it like this. It's hard to see it at this angle. Okay, you see that? Not bad. Not bad at all. I can't see. Okay, that one's even better. And I'm actually stamping too hard because I don't want this center part. But it's okay. And I can't see this one at all. That silver on gray is hard to see. Okay, and that's good. Okay, so you see how when you have the correct orientation of your stamp on your block, this multi-level stamping with red rubber is quite easy. Now let's talk about this bud stamp. This one is a little different. I'm going to recommend or suggest to Fun Stamper Journey that they have the illustrations on the laminated board in the correct orientation for stamping. I thought that it was so because these two first stamps worked, but when it comes to this last stamp, you will need to tilt it. But it's still important that you keep the right orientation. So I'm going to make sure I have my letter. Where is it? Okay, you know what? I didn't have this stamp positioned correctly. So let me line it up. It's important to have a starting point, to have a reference. Excuse me. It'll make stamping so much easier. So I'm going to pick that one up. I'm going to use the same ink, but for this stamp, I'm just going to do it. If I was to just stamp directly down, and by the way, this image goes inside of the middle right here. You can probably see it better here. Turn it that way. This image stamps right in the center there. Well, if I follow my rule and just stamp down, my bud is facing that way when the bud should be going that way. So with this stamp, you do have to turn it. And this is where stamping your image out several times, it really helps you, because you'll get an idea of how much of a turn, I can't see you guys, you need to make. Okay. Now I'm going to bring this one closer to me so I can see where I'm stamping. Okay, so this one wasn't bad. Can you see that bud there in the center? Actually, these two building these roses, you're going to get different looks. Don't look for perfection. You will get frustrated. Take your time. I mean, though these buds are not angled like I wanted them to be, they still look like roses. Okay, so you got the point, right? Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that silver pastel? It's so pretty. Oh my goodness. I love that metallic look. And combined with our fusion ink, that's gorgeous. I love this color combination. The Riverstone with the beach ball ink and the silver pastel. Ah, love it. Okay, the next thing to do would be to cut out. So for the inside of my card, I added more of my background look. I'm going to do the same thing with this card. Same technique as here, you guys. Take my stamp, add more pastel. I did not clean my stamp. Not going to do that. I don't think I contaminated my beach ball, but if I did, oh well. Gonna lightly mist it and just create a pattern. I don't want to cover my entire inside. Remember, I don't want to add too much water. I haven't even added more pastel. Pastels are, they're rich. A little bit goes a long way. I think I will add more here. And let's see what happens when I don't add more water. Yep. Cool. I love it. I don't know what that looks like. You know what? It reminds me of a bullhorn. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's exactly what it looks like. Okay, we are done with that. No, we're not. No, we're not. We need to add our sentiment. Take any sentiment you like. I'm using Hello Amazing. This stamp set has retired as of June the 30th. I love the phrases in the Be Amazing collection. And I'm going to bring in my black pastel and use another side of my little dauber. Okay, gonna lightly mist it. I've added more than I wanted to. That's because I kept missing parts of it. You know what? Let's do this. Let's add more pastel after the water just to see what happens. I don't want too much water. So I'm really dabbing water off. And my A didn't even get any water. Ugh. Okay, let's go ahead and stamp. Let serendipity have its way. There you go. Hello Amazing. I don't want to close that. I want to let it dry. So this has set up for several minutes. And look how pretty that is. Wow. Stamping with no ink. Well, in this case, we did stamp with ink, the detail stamp. But look at that silver. Love it. Okay, let's go ahead and finish our card because we are almost done. Now I have the right size. Go ahead and layer my mat. Now, if you want to, you could round your corners. I'm not going to do any of that. Okay, and mine, oh, it's okay. And then now we need to add our background mat. Add more tape. This is a simple card. I love the colors. Once again, it's a perfect color scheme for the man or men in your life. Alrighty. At first, I didn't like, and I forgot to do something. Okay. It's a ding-dong moment. But if you notice that this card, it has like a messy look to it. You can go with the clean look, but I like this messy look. So, what you should have did first, blend or shade your edges. I'm going to do that now. And you know what? I don't want blue. I want it black. Just go ahead and see, I took my finger gloves off only to get my fingers messy anyway. Now, isn't that something? Oh well, it's not gonna kill me. And I added more than I wanted to, but oh well. I still like the look and the feel of this card. Okay, so if you want to shade your edges, do so before you add the card layer to your card. Now, take your ribbon and you know, I actually should have did this first. Okay, Felicia. But, hey, we don't have to be perfect. But all is not lost. I think there's always a solution for a problem. It just depends on how you look at it. So I've taken my ribbon and I'm going to cut off what I need. Now, what I did first was I added adhesive tape to my ribbon, but then my ribbon wrinkled up. So I'm not going to do that this time. The way I did this one, I didn't add any adhesive at all. I used these tiny brads. Do you still use brads? I have not seen brads used in a video in such a long. Here, I'm not going to use a brad because the hole will show through the inside of my card. So I'm just going to use good old glue dots. Okay, so take a glue dot. We offer a full line of adhesive, different types. Position your ribbon where you would like it. I like this half of a triangle look, like so. And then add a dot to the other side. Turn my card backwards. Perfect. Just like so. And then take a good pair of scissors. Oh, I guess it's okay. Oh, if I was thinking, I would have had ribbon extended so I could easily cut it, but this is fine. I wanted a more decorative cut to my ribbon, but it's okay. A-okay. Just cut it off. No big. And then now I'm going to add a little foam to my flower to give it some dimension. This is my do-it-yourself foam tape. I just take adhesive back foam. For this one, I ran it through my Xyron, the side that didn't have adhesive on it. And you have instant foam, double stick foam. Okay, and then position your flower how you would like it. And these little gems I picked up from the dollar bin. And I'm going to use our silk in the color silver and tint these ivory colored pearls to a light silver color. You just add it. This may take about 5 minutes to dry, but you see how the silks changes the color. So while that's drying, I wanted to show you just some examples of how the PanPastels stamped on white cardstock look. So I used the silver pastel and the beach blue ink pad on white cardstock. You get an idea of how bold it is. So depending on the different color combinations you choose, that will determine your final look. Just play around, just have fun. I did some more stamping and I used regular ink pads. This is where I played around to try to figure out how to build the layers of this stamp set. But this gives you an idea of how the stamp should look when you're done stamping. So look at that one, and look at that one, and that one. This is where I figured it out. I was like, you see my notes, stamp straight down, stamp straight down. But when I got to this bud, I was like, don't stamp straight down. And then I played around with the different angles. So play around, have fun with your stamps. I'm a red rubber girl. I hope we come out with more build-a-layer type of flower stamps. You'll have them for forever. I think it's dry enough. To add my pearls to my ribbon, I'm going to use smaller pop dots. Oh, it's still wet. I hope it sticks. Alrighty, so it's the next day, and I made another card. This card is clean. It has the clean look compared to these two here. So you have options. I do want to point out a couple of things, and you should do this before you assemble your card. But once again, PanPastels, they're rich, they're very pigmented. You do need, or you should, you don't have to, but take a paper towel and rub off any excess pastel. You're not going to rub off your design, so don't worry about that. You do want to clean it up because it will get on your fingers. Now, I've seen some people use a sealer, and if I remember, I'll grab my sealer because I did seal one of my cards, so that's an option, but a lot of people don't. But you see what's coming off? So you do want to rub off any excess because PanPastels, another tip. When you are applying your ribbon, apply the tape down first. Just get your double stick tape, apply it down, and then put your ribbon on top. I don't know why I didn't think of that this time. I've done it that way before. The last thing I'm going to do is stamp my sentiment. I have not cleaned my stamp, but it's all about experimenting and having fun. I'm going to take my stamp or take my pad right to my stamp. I'm not worried about contaminating my ink pad. I do have another one of these in case I do, but I got a feeling I'm going to be okay. I want to see, and you know, I probably should have added more pastel to my stamp, but let's play around and see what happens when we add ink to our pastel. In my next pastel video, I'm going to play around with that technique. Okay, so I should have added more pastel before I added my ink because I did experiment with this technique, but I used another color of ink pad. So you see that I don't have any of the blue at all Once again, it is the next day. And then finally, when you use your PanPastels, how do you clean your stamps? Well, the block cleans off really easy. Just take a baby wipe, a paper towel, whatever you use. Now to clean your detailed stamps, that might require a bit of washing. And what you can do, and once again, mine has been sitting all night. You don't want that to happen. But spray some water, let it sit for a second, and take your baby wipe and clean. The pastels, they do come off, but if you have a real detailed stamp, you might have to spray a couple times. We do have Fusion cleaner. I tend to use my Fusion cleaner when I use my black licorice with very detailed stamps. Besides that, I just use a baby wipe. I used to use a watered down version of Windex. I never had any problems with that, but that's how I clean mine. All right, you guys, here you have it. 3 lovely yet masculine type cards, perfect for the men in your life. I really do like this design. I really love the technique of stamping with no ink. I will definitely be playing around with my pastels. I might just take them on vacation. Now, if you have been inspired by my creativity, go ahead, give me a thumbs up, like this video. Also, if you have not subscribed, well, right now is the perfect time to do so. Feel free to adopt any of my ideas. I only ask for proper credits. Do give shout outs and do link back to this video. Once again, thank you all for watching. And as always, blessings.